Hello travelers, it is time for a video about Last Epoch. I've been playing this game for about a year now, a little bit like on stream, a little bit off stream, not too much overall because I've been mostly playing Grim Dawn and that's where probably most of you guys also know me from. Anyway, today I'm here to talk about Last Epoch. Last Epoch is in my opinion one of, if not the best upcoming RPG right now. I mean, Grim Dawn 2 is not in development right now, Diablo 4 could be good, but it's still Blizzard, right? Diablo 2 Resurrected. I mean, we know Diablo 2 is a good game. So Diablo 2 Resurrected should be a good game as well, but it's still Blizzard as well. PoE 2, I mean, if you like PoE, then PoE 2 is going to be awesome. Of course, it's going to be very, very good. And PoE is objectively a good game. I have been playing it a little bit as well this last Ultimatum season. However, I would say that for a beginner, PoE can be very, very overwhelming because there's such there's so many mechanics in PoE that you have to learn about first before you can start really playing the game. I mean, you can kind of play the game ignoring the mechanics on the side, but yeah, it kind of feels awkward as well sometimes. But I'm not here to talk about PoE today, I'm here to talk about Last Epoch. So Last Epoch does, in my opinion, a very, very good job at providing a rather beginner-friendly experience to the player. The passive trees are pretty straightforward. The skill trees are maybe not quite as straightforward, but every skill tree and all the passive trees have search bars. You can search for everything that you want to in those, and you can also respec everything very cheaply. So you can basically just start playing the game and test out whatever you want to, and if you don't like it, just respec. On top of that, recently the endgame, the Monolith system has been revamped a bit. It kind of looks like PoE's Synthesis League now in a way, I guess, but with their own twist to it. Not too hard to understand either, pretty straightforward, and has much more variety than it used to have. Gameplay wise, the combat feels very crisp and very direct. Graphic wise, the game could look better, and some animations and some models are still from earlier phases of the game. But I mean, compared to how the game looked a year ago or even 2 or 3 years ago, it looks already way better. So I can confidently say that this game will at least have decent graphics on release and also have the same crisp and direct gameplay that it already has right now as well. 20 stacks here, 22, 23, 25, 27, 28, and oh my god, don't die there. I always tell people that this game plays and feels a lot better than it looks. So let us start talking about what I want to talk here about though, which is my dual wield Beastmaster. This is a dual wield melee Beastmaster, kind of like a Smorky kind of guy right in your face, and this is basically a build that I made in 0.8, patch 0.8, which most of you guys probably will know as the Rogue release patch. 0.8 was not only the Rogue release patch, but it also was the dual wield patch, which allowed many classes, such as for example the Monolith, to also dual wield. Now the Monolith can dual wield a axe or a sword in its offhand, and in my case this will be using 2 axes. Now you might also notice that this video is not gonna be very well cut together, or also not have lots of editing attached to it, because, well, Last Epoch is still a early access game, and the game can change a lot. Everything that I talk about here could be potentially totally different on next patch. I did a very thorough guide about Last Epoch a year ago. Many of the things that I was talking about there are completely different now, such as for example how armor works, how resistances work. So I kind of want to wait with doing very edit intensive guides like that until the game releases. Right now it doesn't really seem worth it for me to do to invest so much time into editing insane guides without knowing how the game will be in a year or half a year from now, right? Anyway, resistances back then were a flat amount of value, right? Which basically represented effective HP. So if you had 100 fire res, flat fire res basically, and 100 HP, you basically had 200 effective HP against fire res. Thus, you would have 50% fire res, fire damage mitigation, kind of. Now, resistances are just in Grim Dawn and Path of Exile, right? So if you have 75% fire res, which is the cap right now for all resistances, then you will just absorb 75% of the incoming fire damage and only take 25% damage. You can also overcap, like in Grim Dawn, right? You can see here 155% down below. This means that I've overcapped fire by 80%. This is way too much. You don't usually need that much. This is more yeah, because I just have it for free from some gear which I need for other stats, but oh well. And overcap in this game is good to a certain extent because there is resistance reduction, just like in Ramadan, but then there's also penetration. Let me just talk about resistance reduction first, right? Say you get debuffed by an ability that reduces your resistances by, say, I don't know, 25%, right? So if you have 26% overcap for poison like I have right now, then you would still be at 1% overcap, because the overcap actually like absorbs that debuff, and then you would still only take 25% of the poison damage in total anyway. Now there's also penetration. Penetration always works against your resistances, basically. You cannot protect yourself against penetration with overcap. So say an enemy has 75 penetration and I have 155% fire rest in total, I will still be brought down to 0% fire, because you can only have like 75% max, and enemy has 75 penetration, so you're down at 0. Now this might sound scary, however, basically all enemies have this penetration, and like the penetration scales with your level up to like a max of 75. I think somewhere around level 70 or something like that, enemies will have 75 penetration, and from that point onwards, basically the entire damage of the game is balanced around having 75% resistances and the enemies having also 75% penetration, which means that the base values of the damages that like enemies deal is not that high, right? Like the game is basically balanced around you having 0 resistances. Now, why is this better than say like in Grim Dawn? Well, in Grim Dawn, if you have 80% rest, right, and you get reduced, like you get hit by a resistance shred debuff that, for example, reduces your resistances by 20%, right, you will go from 80% down to 60%, and thus, instead of taking 20% damage, you would take 40% damage, basically doubling the amount of damage that you take. So that's very scary. In this game, if you get hit by 20% like resistance shred and you have no overcap, right, you would go from 0 to -20, which means you just take 20% more damage. So instead of like taking 100% more damage, you will take 20% more damage. And because of that, Last Epoch, or like the developers of Last Epoch, could introduce way more enemies with like resistance shred, and it wouldn't be as big of an issue as in Grim Dawn, right? In Grim Dawn, the rule is basically enemy resistance shred debuffs are like one of the scariest things in the game, and because of that, you always want to overcap as much as the enemies can shred you, so that you basically always stay at those 80% resistances. In this game, overcapping is actually not that important. So this frees up like resistance affixes on items, and you can like use other stuff instead, right? It is by no means necessary to like, sometimes even to like max out resistances. Like some builds don't even need max stress. Say if you have like, I don't know, insane armor or block or like endurance or glancing blow synergies instead, it might be worth like scaling those instead of resistances, and like just get resistances like for free as a side thing, like a secondary defenses. And that's very interesting. Like in Grim Dawn, right, you have this rule like resistances are #1 top priority, you need to max them out, and then you also need to overcap them later, right? If you don't, you're just dead, right? In this game, you have a little bit more freedom with resistances, armor, etc, etc. So I actually kind of like that. I mean, some people might not like this system. I kind of like it actually. Also, let me just very quickly talk about the poison rest here. You do not have to cap out poison rest at all. Like what I'm doing here is kind of bad actually, because I mean, again, if you compare this to Grim Dawn, right? In Grim Dawn, there's a resistance type called Bleed, and Bleed only exists as like damage over time. And the same thing is here with poison basically. There's no flat acid damage like in Grim Dawn. There's only damage over time. Like poison is only damage over time. So because of that, you can always like leech against it. And like that combined with resistances being less important, yeah, you don't need poison rest like at all, kind of. You can just like leech against it, or like absorb poison through like armor, which actually no, this doesn't work against damage over time, right? But yeah, scrap that. Anyway, let me finally talk about this build, right? So this is a dual wield Beastmaster. We have Summon Frenzy Totem, Ice Thorns, Fury Leap, and Summon Wolf as the skills. I made this character basically before Warcry was a thing, like a skill, and I'm pretty sure you could play this build like with Warcry instead of either Fury Leap, or maybe instead of Summon Wolf. I kind of want to try that later, which is why I'm doing this video right now before changing the build, because the build works as it is. At least it brought me up to level 80 in hardcore. I know level 80 is not level 100, max level is 100 in this game, but since like level scaling is very similar to like PoE in this game, I feel like level 80 is already a pretty decent level to be in on hardcore, at least when you haven't played the game as much. And I haven't played this game that much yet, so like for me level 80 is like a good achievement. So let's talk about these skills, right? You have Fury Leap. We have 5 points in Warrior's Entrance and 3 points in Rage. You want to get 2 points in Warrior's Entrance and like 3 points in Rage, basically ASAP when you level this, because of the global attack speed buff, right? You jump and then you have a buff. Sounds good, right? Then I actually went for Panther Strike. You want to get like 2 points here for damage and CDR, and then 5 points in Ambush Predator to have like initial hit damage against enemies at full health, right? I mean, this kind of makes sense because you want to engage with the Fury Leap usually, and like that first hit with Fury Leap can also like in many cases actually like one-shot enemies, like trash at least. And if it doesn't one-shot enemies, then you get like the attack speed buff, and then you can like, well, size away, right? I also put 1 point to Gravity just to like pull enemies together so that I can like slice them easier after jumping on them, right? And yeah, I also like put this to 5 then and this to 3 afterwards. You can like go 2, 3, 1 here first, and then like put the remaining 2 points here and 1 more point here, right? The last points, I'm not really sure about these. This is like Creator, 2 points for area damage and 1 point for Savage Impact. Probably 3 points to Creator or like 2 points to Savage Impact is better than what I'm doing right now. But yeah, these points are really not that important. Like, I just want to use this mostly for the attack speed buff, global buff, like global increased damage here as well. Put this to 5 points as well after like getting the 3 here and like getting the points here. Yeah, just like another steroid, right? Your main ability is Swipe, and well, you want Swipe to deal like all the damage, right? So everything else is kind of just like either stacking defenses or stacking more attack speed for your character, or like more global damage. Aspect of the Panther, many people max this out. I chose to only put 2 points here. I mean, you need 2 points here to get then like 1 point in Feeding and Hunter. This is like the first thing you should always go for, right? Like 2 here, 1 here. Then like get 2 here as well in Maul for like global melee damage, this one for attack speed. 3 points here for increased crit chance, and like 4 points for Apex Predator for like global critical multiplier. If you struggle with getting your crit chance to 100%, you can also put more points into Ambush. I have basically 100% crit chance already with 3 points here only, so I don't really need more points than 3 here. Then also I like 2 points in Way of the Hunt for, well, health leech on the Swipe on top of all the other leech from the trees, and more hit damage. I mean, this is kind of like whatever, you just take 2 points here for some leech, and also to like unlock these trees here. Then like you need at least 1 point in Vengarian Reach to get 1 point in Culling, to then get like 3 points in Trapper. This is multiplicative with all the other modifiers, and this is something that you don't need to rush at all. Like, this is something you need to like take, or like you should take very much later into the game, like around level 70 or something, whenever you have the ability to slow enemies, right? If you can't slow enemies, then this is useless, right? So yeah, you need to only take this when you can slow enemies. How can you slow enemies? You can either slow enemies with a chance to slow on hit on a suffix on a weapon, which I actually don't have right now. I think that would actually be the better setup to have it on the weapon. Or you can use Sloth Totem, which I'm going to talk about later. Next up we have Ice Thorns. Many people like to go for the chance when hit by enemies. This is also very good in my opinion, to have like this proc when hit. I chose to just like do the non-block trick and basically have it auto-cast right all the time. And the thing is, you with enough CDR, right, you will basically have at least 2 stacks active all the time, and with the chance to recast even more. The sound might be a little bit annoying, so let's just put it off again. Where's Ice Thorns? There it is. Okay, so you want 1 point to Unempowered to get Thorn Shield. Yeah, now the Ice Thorns also grant a Thorn Shield, which like grant armor. 2 points to Bark Shield first of all, and like 3 points to Eternal Protection, which makes the Ice Thorns last longer around you, giving you like armor for a longer duration basically. Then what else I did is Second Nature. Actually, I think I took these 3 points right away, because like casting Ice Thorns is just, I mean, unless you're a caster, that maybe is okay, but otherwise it just feels completely horrible. And if you're not going for like chance to cast when hit, you want to get second nature to be like able to instant cast it, right? However, this adds cooldown and to basically like still have a at least 100% uptime on one stack, and I have like 100% uptime on at least 2 stacks. Then you want to reduce the cooldown recovery speed over here. This also gives you crit chance avoidance, so like I have always 2 stacks active with this, so yeah, I get like 60% crit chance avoidance just from Ice Thorns, like permanently, 60% at least. So I only need like 4% crit chance from like other affixes or idols on my gear to like reach 100% crit chance avoidance, so then I cannot ever get crit anymore. Then also we have 4 points in Bulb Shield, chance to recast us when it expires, 40%, which basically I would not say this is like that reliable for the crit chance avoidance, right? So I wouldn't count having like 90% crit chance avoidance that much. Like I wouldn't count on this, but it is very good still for the armor that you gain, right? So yeah, I kind of like this. Maybe like putting 1 more point here though, and like removing 1 point here to have like higher average guaranteed armor is better though. I have actually not tested that yet. And also maybe like putting, I mean, this not like needs 3 points here, right? This skill is so useless. I don't know. Dagger Thorns is so bad. Bramble armor, I don't know, because like the Ice Thorns themselves, they don't really deal any damage, right? At least not on my build. So you just want this for like the Thorn here, right? Anyway, let's move on to the Frenzy Totem. Frenzy Totem, well, generally this gives you attack speed and casting speed, right? Very good for like attack speed steroid, rapidity, and you could also take Berserker's Frenzy. Like I tried this, but I mean this is so like scary for hardcore, so that I really wouldn't really recommend this. Increased Frenzy effect means you basically get 20% higher attack speed, so like 24% instead of 20%, right? But I would say the things that you should go for first are Grounded, Dig In, and then like Dig Deep and Totemic, yeah, and Dig Deep, right? These 3. So Grounded, right? 4 points here give you like 20 global physical damage, 5 points, 25 points, 1 point in Dig In. This will tether you to the totem, and whenever you're tethered, or like as long as you're tethered, you will gain 100% increased damage. Pretty good multiplier, as well as Dig Deep, you have increased critical strike chance while tethered. Also super good, 250% is like insane, right? 50% crit chance per point. Note that this is like multiplicative, right? This is not additive, but still it's very good. And then we have like 3 points in Totemic Reach to give like the tether a bigger like range. If you want to go for like Sloth Totem, right, to enable the Trapper on the swipe, then you take like 3 points in Reinforced Totem and like 1 point in the Sloth Totem. If you get like slow on hit on your weapon, I would probably rather put this to 4 points and then maybe like put rapidity to 4 points as well. And then you would have like 1 more point remaining that you put into, I don't know, maybe like still Reinforced Totem actually. Like Reinforced Totem also gives you like more duration. So depending on like how your CDR is and how often the totem dies or not, you might want to get still like some points in Reinforced Totem. Last but not least, I have the Summon Wolf. I have basically spec this guy only for tankiness, not for damage at all. I know that with Frozen Fangs, the wolves can deal actually an absurd amount of damage as well. But you know me and pets, I don't really like them that much, so yeah. This is just like a walking totem for me, to be honest. It's just there to, well, give me the howl, right? The wolf has, well, you can summon the wolf, right? There we go. And once you have summoned the wolf, you can activate the ability again, just like with all the pets with Primalist. And this howl will give you Frenzy and 50% increased damage. Now, what does Frenzy do? Frenzy grants you, again, 20% attack and casting speed. I'm actually not sure if this Frenzy stacks with the Frenzy of the Frenzy Totem. It tells you here that, like, Frenzy, this buff does not stack even if you have multiple wolves. So, like, it won't stack from different, like, additional wolves, like howling at the same time, like, that won't stack. But I actually don't know if it will or won't stack with the Frenzy of the Frenzy Totem itself, right? That would actually be interesting to know. I mean, if it doesn't stack, then you have like even more incentive to go for Sloth Totem instead, right? Like for Sloth Totem, instead of frenzying yourself, it slows the enemy, and well, that makes you easier to dodge enemy abilities. It makes you like take less average damage, and also makes your Swipe with Trapper deal additional damage. And also it gives you Armor Shred and Armor Shred effectiveness, right? So you still get like more damage through the Armor Shred. Anyway, so we play this wolf for the Howl, and how do you make the Howl like good for your character? I mean, you take like 2 points here. This is just for movement speed and attack speed. Actually, attack speed is not too bad on the wolf either, and you're gonna see here in a second why. 3 points to Call of the Wind. Call of the Wind gives you haste on Howl. Howl is a buff that gives you increased movement speed, so that's pretty nice. And why you really want to take this is because of Battle Cry, right? The buffs granted by Howl last longer, and the wolves have a chance to howl when they hit a rare boss or enemy. So on the hunt, giving the wolves more attack speed makes them hit more often, and yeah, with this they will like howl automatically as well, without like you having to press the button if they hit an enemy like a boss or a rare mob, right? Pretty nice. 2 points here. Then we got 1 point to Victory Howl. This will make the wolves howl if they kill. I mean, in my spec they do no damage, so this will never happen. However, this enables Snarl, which gives you a chance to make them howl if you like kill an enemy, and that's pretty nice. Also, the Howl gives you and the wolf itself, like all the allies, increased melee damage as well. So yeah, Howl, I mean Snarl and Battle Cry are like the important things here to buff like your wolf, to be able to buff you even better. And then we just like take some points here into like health regen and European endurance or canine agility. You can also like pull some points here and like put them into agility instead, basically to like make the wolf not die. Now for the passives, they have actually revamped this passive tree as well. If you start out trying to leveling, I would put all the points in Promise Strength first, and then like get Harmony of Blades to be able to dual wield, and then get Swallow of the Pack for like increased melee damage, and also like a Tempest Bond. And that's basically it. However, for endgame, I have actually, I mean, I think it might be better to put some points in Natural Attunement, depending on like your Lightning and Cold Res. You can like put points here if you struggle like getting those resistances, like I kind of do right now. If you don't, then you can just like keep them in Promise Strength, and that's basically all you need from this tree. Then we have the Beastmaster Mastered, of course. You want to put 1 point in Savagery to like have increased melee damage. This is only there to like enable Ambush, and Ambush is really great because it allows you to like get Aspect of the Shark, right? Aspect of the Shark granted on melee attack. Every 5 seconds your next melee attack deals increased damage and grants Aspect of the Shark. Now the aspects, especially Aspect of the Shark, is gonna be the main focus of this character. Like this is your main steroid to like grant you damage and attack speed. Since the Aspect of the Shark effect doesn't stack here at all with points, you just need 1 point here. Urdzen Strength, right? 8 points here for 8 strength and also damage taken from nearby enemies. This is like multiplicative with all the other modifiers from like defensive modifiers like armor resistances, etc, etc. So it's kind of like just 16% absorption, very good. So yeah, 8 points here. Then we have 4 points in Boar Heart, which give you Aspect of the Boar. Now Aspect of the Boar reduces also enemy damage by 15%. So basically like this, and again like 15% absorption. Very nice. You want 4 points here because with 4 points here you can get 5 points in Porcine Constitution, which gives you another 15% damage reduction. So like this is 30% damage reduction, and also health regen, like more health regen. I mean, it's whatever, but it's not bad. But yeah, like this gives you 30% damage reduction, right? Now, first of all, this only works when you are getting hit and has a 2-second cooldown, right? And also only on getting hit by melee attack. However, once you have Promise Strength, you will get a chance to also proc Aspect of the Boar when you hit an enemy. It also gives you like 5 strength on top. And like being able to, I mean 20% chance to hit an enemy is like, with this build it's 100% uptime. Because like you have insane attack speed, so like you have this buff up all the time. You have 30%, basically permanent damage reduction. You're basically playing melee, so like it's another 16% here. These are multiplicative to each other, so like this is not like 46% absorption, but it's still very good. Very, very good. Also, I got like 1 point in Call of the Pack. Yeah, like you can put 1 point here, you don't really need it now. 1 point in Life in the Wilderness. As long as you have the pet, as long as you play the wolf, you really need 1 point here, so that Endurance also applies to your companions, right? Endurance is a skill, like a passive, that makes you take less damage for like the lowest 20% of your HP. You can increase that threshold with like Endurance threshold, so then you will like take, I mean, up to 60% less damage. You actually have to like scale that as well, right? The base percentage is 20% of Endurance, right? Which means like you will take 20% less damage on the lowest 20% of your HP. But you can scale up both of them, right? You can scale up the damage reduction up to 60%, and you can scale up the Endurance threshold with like, for example, Endurance threshold, right? Like this point here, that gives you 10 flat Endurance threshold. Pretty good. 5 points in Circle of Life, because, well, you have 25% chance to gain Aspect of the Shark on kill, and also health on kill. Now, Aspect of the Shark, I actually haven't talked about this yet, right? This one increases melee damage by 50% and melee attack speed by 10%. Now, you can only have 1 stack of this until you get Feeding Frenzy. This point over here makes so that Aspect of the Shark can stack. The individual aspect stacks will only have 40% effectiveness, right? However, that means like once you have 3 stacks, it's already better than having only like 1 stack without this buff, right? And I mean, I got up to like 30 plus stacks on this build, so yeah, you want this 100%, right? That's really, really crazy actually. Let's move on here, like Dragon Slayer, 1 point here, Aspect of the Shark, chance on hit against rares and bosses. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously very good. This is the boss killer. This is why this build is so good at like killing bosses. It's actually not that good for like trash clear. It's like fine for that, but like against bosses, you get like 30 stacks or something like that. It's kind of crazy. Ocean Maw, also this increases the effect of the Aspect of the Shark, right? Gives you basically more attack speed, but like plus 100%, like plus 120% effect means instead of granting you 50% melee damage, you will be granted 120% or something like that, 110%, and melee attack speed by from 10% to 120% on top means you will get 22% attack speed, right? So that's really nice, and also it will increase the duration, making it like easier to stack multiple of these. As long as you play a wolf, you want to absolutely get Crafter Links. Crafter Links is very good, gives you increased crit chance, has a 3-second duration. This activates whenever you activate the what's it called? Howl as well yourself. And 1 point Serrated Claws to like have crit chance multiplier, and 1 chance critical bite to like leech more of your crits, which is pretty good. I'm kind of thinking of maybe even removing this tree, even though it's really good if I remove the wolf as well. Yeah, we'll see if that's like actually good or not. I only have 1 point in Viper Fangs. Like moving onwards to like level 100, you could definitely like put more points here. This like it just gives you like 5% melee attack speed per point. The aspect of the Viper is kind of whatever. It's just like chance to poison the enemy, right? We're not scaling poison at all, so this is just 5% attack speed per point, which is still good. So you can like definitely like put more points here. Last but not least, also 8 points to Primal Aspects. I mean, you want like 10 points here, or also like 10 points to Ancient Might maybe as well later. This one is for like flat melee damage strength. This one is for increased aspect buff duration. Always why this is good, right? I like the Aspect of Lynx and Aspect of Shark, right? That's why this is like really good. However, what I'm thinking about is that if I remove the Wolf, right, and remove Crafted Lynx, I will probably also like put down points here, and instead put the points into Hunters of the Deep, because like this increases the Aspect of the Shark duration by 15% per point. This increases aspect buffs of all the buffs by 10%. Now, which aspects do I have? I have Cry of the Lynx, right? I have Aspect of the Lynx. This one I have right now. This is really good right now. But if I don't have the Wolf anymore, then this will be useless, right? Viper Fangs, Aspect of Viper, useless. Aspect of the Boar, super strong. However, it's like chance to meta hit, right? 20%. So it's like 100% uptime anyway. Like I don't really like need to scale the duration of this. So yeah, the 4 points in Hunters of the Deep would be, in my opinion, better than 4 points here. Like if I only scale like this tree, right? Also, rending more could also be good, right? Like putting 5 points here and 4 points here is something that I really want to try actually, after like removing the wolf. And then also you'd have Axe and Claw. This is also very interesting because it like gives you raw +2 physical damage, right? That's actually more than Ancient Might. Ancient Might gives you strength on top. This one is just raw damage. I mean, strength gives you HP, no, actually armor. Armor and like scales the skill as well. So I'm actually not sure like which one would be better here. I mean, ideally you want to get both of them, but you can only like get both of them if you like remove the link stuff and like maybe also remove prominent aspects, right? We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, this is what I'm running right now. Also, actually don't forget about the 7 points in Druid, right? 7 points in Bark Skin for armor and 14% endurance. So this is, in my opinion, like a very, very, very good passive to get basically whenever you're playing any kind of prowess, right? This is very easy to access. 14% endurance if you don't have 60% endurance yet. Super good. Now let's talk about the gear. Real quick, right? For idols, I have 2 1x4 idols. I have one with like increased aspect of the links and shark effect. This is like the best idol right now if you play with the links and the shark, right? Really, really good. Especially the aspect of the shark effect increase is like really, really good. And you can see I don't have a second one of that. Also partially because I kind of want the suffix with the crit chance avoidance to get to like 100% crit chance. As I said earlier, like I need 40% crit chance avoidance on either idols or gear. I don't have any on gear right now. It's probably better to get it on gear than on idols. Because, yeah, this idol is just like way too good. So, like, effect idol, crit chance, and crit avoidance idol. This is basically just crit avoidance. The totem elemental resistance is like so bad, actually. I mean, it's not super bad, but it's like kind of bad. And then we got like a couple of 2x1 or like, I mean, what is this? 1x2, whatever, and 1x1 things, right? They're all just like either some resistances that I'm lacking a bit, or critical chance, or armor, or health, hybrid health, like prefix health and suffix health. These are like the best ones actually that you can like get here. The 1x2s health are really, really, really strong right now. But I can also like see flat armor being not that bad right now anymore, because like armor got buffed in the last patch, right? Armor now has 70% effectiveness against non-physical damage compared to 50%. And you can also get to high armor values pretty easy compared to before now, or like rather higher flat armor values will like translate to higher absorption now compared to before. So this build has like up to 60% armor now, like absorption through armor now. That's pretty good actually, not too bad. Now for the weapons. I mean, while leveling, just choose like whatever sword or axe that like gives you attack speed, flat damage, etc. For like endgame, or like once you're around level, what is this, like 50-ish, 55-ish or something like that, whenever you start dropping the Marauders, I mean the Raiders axe, right? You want these Raiders axes. Why do you want Raiders axes? Well, first of all, because they're an axe, right? You can only dual wield an axe or a sword, and these axes, okay, where the fuck are they? Here they are. They have a implicit of melee crit chance, right? These have 3 to 5% melee crit chance, or like actually 2 to 5%, and you want to get the high roll 5%, right? You want twice 5%. This will just give you 32% melee crit chance, just like that already. And because this like flat crit chance is additive to your base crit chance, right? This is like the base for all the multiplicative like percentage crit chance then that you get from the skills, etc. And with all of this, you get to like 89% without hitting an enemy, and like once you hit an enemy with swipe, yeah, we have to like wait for the totem again, right? You're like 80% with a howl, 100% crit chance, right? 100% crit chance, you're like always crit. I mean the poison dot or whatever doesn't crit, but whatever. That like doesn't do any damage anyway. And because of that, it is like very, very important to have like 5% melee base crit chance on these weapons, because like the higher this value is, the less points you will have to invest into, say for example, where is it, like ambush and stuff like that, right? Like these percentage crit chance nodes, you will get on like so many items or skills. But this like flat melee crit chance is very hard to get, and the higher of a value you have here, the less of a value you need with the other like items, right? From the other items or skills. Prefix, ideally you want like flat physical damage and increased melee attack speed, right? For suffix, ideally you want chance to apply frailty, chance to apply chill or slow. I mean, slow is actually better for this build. I mean, generally I would say chill is better than slow, but on this case, because of Trapper, slow on hit would be better. And then you also have armor shred on hit, that's pretty nice as well. Percent increased physical damage is, I think, not as good as flat physical damage, even though this actually got buffed now, and this one got nerfed, so... but I still think that like the flat physical damage is better. Percent physical damage is okay as well, if you get it. I haven't really like invested too much time into like getting these items, as you can see. I mean, health on melee hit is like... I like health on melee hit a lot while leveling. Endgame, it's not that great anymore, because like you have leech anyway, and like leech is really nice. But like health on melee hit is really nice for leveling. I like it for leveling a lot. For the amulet, you obviously want the Jade amulet, right? You want this with like maximum attack speed roll. I'm not even sure what you want on affixes here, like probably something like crit chance is good, mana regen is like whatever, physicalness is not bad either, dodge chance is like omega bad, right? I don't even have a single point in dodge, so like this is just literally useless. Now for the helmet, you definitely want CDR. Why do you want CDR? You want CDR for your Ice Thorns, right? To be able to like have at least stacks up all the time, you need a little bit of CDR on the helmet. You don't need to have this at like tier 4 or 5, I think tier 3 is actually enough. Increased aspect duration of the links is okay. If you get off the shark, if you can even get that on the helmet, would be even better. Poison rust, I mean, we talked about this, right? It's useless. Endurance is good. Ring, strength, vitality, void rust, armor. Defensive stats, whatever, kind of fine, right? This one, armor, void rust, poison rust. This is like a unique build, actually. This is way better than Druid. It's still like okay here, but yeah, it's still like too much poison rust again. I use a Siphon of Anguish. This is a new ring from the Ouroboros boss from the Monolith, right? Actually pretty nice for this build because it gives you like... Well, I mean, you don't care about the void damage leech on health, but like the melee damage leech on health is still okay. Like melee damage leech as health is still okay. As long as you get like a high roll on the melee damage leech as health prefix or like affix and the increased leech rate, as well as the movement speed, that's pretty nice. And the Doom on hit is okay still, because like Doom is like it reduces enemy resistances against physical, something like that. Actually no, just like, yeah, it makes you like, it makes enemies take more melee damage, right? And it can stack up to 4 times. And I mean, this build has like insane attack speed, so it's like kind of easy to like stack 4 stacks on the enemy. So this ring is actually not too bad on this build either, right? Because like, yeah, it increases melee damage taken on enemies by what, like 16%? Not the worst, that's okay. Movement speed of the ring is pretty nice as well. This one comes with base eddy rest as well. The implicit is fine as well. Like the implicit is fine, melee damage leech is health is fine, increased leech rate is good, movement speed is good, and the doom effect is also fine. On boots, you always want movement speed on the prefix, right? Hybrid health, suffix not too bad either. Fire rest, I mean, you just had them, right? And strength, H strength is pretty nice as well. It's like a tier 5 strength, tier 5 movement speed, tier 4 hybrid health. These are like pretty decent boots actually. Now for gloves, you obviously want attack speed. This is like a must-have, right? Tier 5 attack speed. I got like tier 5 strength, tier 3 void rest, tier 3 leech. Fine, I guess, not that ideal. The relic is just there for necrotic rest right now and endurance. Prefixes could be way better. As you can see, I have kind of like no plus skills at all. I mean, ideally you want like plus skills to swipe or something like that on relic and or chest. My chest is horrible as well. Like it basically only has 8 strength, right? Poison rest is useless. I mean, the lightning rest is fine. Yeah, I need like better gear. As you can see, like this build has still like a lot of potential. That's level 80. Got me through Monolith as well still. So far up to, what is it? Yeah, I'm in the Reign of Dragons, like somewhere in here. Let's see how deep I am here. I'm gonna do like another video about this character once I've changed my wolf to Warcry, and like once I've defeated like some proper content, right? Like once I've maybe like done my first empowered Monolith or something. It's gonna still like take some time till then. But yeah, I hope you guys like this sort of like long but scuffed guide. As I said, like I'm not gonna edit these videos too much. But yeah, this build basically makes sure to get like crit avoidance from Ice Thorns and like some other stuff. Get as much attack speed and movement speed and like physical damage modifier, melee damage modifier, flat physical damage as you can get. And yeah, then you just like shred away, right? Let me run a quick mono here as well. Defeat all. Oh, this is an arena mono. Oh yeah, that's one that's new, right? They have added arena monoliths as well now. It's basically like an arena level. You can really like hear the sound of the attack speed. It's kind of funny actually. It's like he's cutting wind. How do you play this character? I mean, you have the Ice Thorns and autocast, right? You can autocast with the numlock trick. You wanna use your frenzy totem basic all the time. You wanna like jump all the time to like get the buff from the jump, and you wanna howl kind of only against bosses, because otherwise you might have like some energy issues, like mana issues, and you don't really need to howl against anything that's not a boss either. Because like the wolf is gonna howl on itself, like you're gonna make the wolf howl whenever you kill. Anyway, against trash, so like you only need to like activate the howl against bosses really. After you have defeated a monolith, you actually get like this loot orb now as well, depending like which monolith you chose to run, right? These have like rings guaranteed, the one that I just did had like the runes guaranteed. Actually, oh, we have a boss here, right? Let's just do the boss, right? That seems good. It seems good to like show you the boss. This is the new like Shade of Orbus boss. This boss has like, I don't know, some different elemental forms, right? And many different skills, of which you will only use 3 or 4 per encounter. Oh my god, these are so annoying actually. Yeah, you don't want to get hit by those. Let's ramp up those aspects of Shark. Like 20 stacks here, 22, 23, 25, 27, 28, and oh my god, don't die there. Alright. As you can see, getting this ring is not hard at all. I've killed this boss I think like 9 times now. I got the ring 9 times out of 9 times, like out of 9 kills. I don't know, that seems a little bit scuffed, but like the drop rate should be a little bit rarer than that, to be honest. Or like they need to like make the ring drop in different versions or something. Like just have one version of this ring and like have it drop all the time is it's a little bit weird. I don't know why they designed it like that. Anyway, if you like focus on the fight and don't like focus on your aspect of the shark stacks and face tank like, and if you don't face tank like all the stuff like I did, then it should take like not that much damage, and it's gonna be like way easier for you to like kill these bosses. But I mean, the end this is like very like straightforward, in your face kind of character, right? You just like attack for this, that, put down this totem, howl, and then like, yeah, you smork away, right? Like a true orc, like a true berserker. And that's kind of what this build was supposed to be, like a true melee berserker. Anyway, thanks so much everyone for watching. I'll see you around on the next last Epoch video, and maybe also last Chrome Dawn video, no, rather like the next Chrome Dawn video as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you around.